Good evening, guys. Welcome back and let's start. So this is the second demo session that we are into. So my humble request for you is that if anybody calls from DURGASOFT, please lift your call. Of course, I know that you are working, you might be in some work pressure and all the things. So, and if at all, if you are unable to lift the call, I am giving you the reminder. This is the second demo. So you will have, tomorrow you will have the last demo, that is the third demo. And from Thursday onwards, like tomorrow is Wednesday and the day after tomorrow will be the Thursday, the fourth day of your session. So from Thursday onwards, you don't have any demos, and those who has enrolled for the course, they will be given with a new link. So you have to join with that link, and the timings are as usual. So 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. So yes, that is what my request towards you. So in the last class, we discussed what we have discussed in the last class. If you see here, we discussed about the configuration related to not about the configuration, what is AWS and what is cloud. First of all, before going for the AWS and all the things, first we have learned about cloud, what is meant by cloud, and first how on-premises will be there, what is the data, how your software development lifecycle will be there, how it will be interlinked with the operations team. So these are all the things that we have discussed in the last class. So today we will be discussing about, actually I have to start the networking concepts. Before starting the networking concept, what I want to say here is, here I want to discuss about, before going for the networking, you need to understand why, what is the necessity of going for the networking. So as I already said you that in the last class, from the last class onwards, I am saying you, to understand AWS, you need to have a brief understanding about the networking concept. Without having the knowledge on networking concept, you are unable to work it out with the VPCs and all the things. So before you understand why we have to learn networking, what is network, that we will learn in the networking concept. But before learning that, you need to understand why networking, what is the necessity of learning that, why we need to learn that. So to understand that particularly, you need to have a brief idea about, so why network and AWS, what I can call it as geographical or else global infrastructure. So this concept you need to understand. Before learning about network and all the things, you need to have a brief understanding about global infrastructure of your AWS cloud service provider. Now, why network, that you will come to know. Again, I am repeating it multiple times. Coming back to this AWS global infra. So what is this global infra? First of all, there are so many data centers all around the world. For each and every cloud service providers, there is no, we don't have a single data center. So there are so many data centers in different countries all around the world. We are having different data centers. Now, when these cloud providers like AWS, Azure, GCP, they will be having their own data centers. So if at all, if there is a data center in India, not a single data center, they might be having multiple different data centers in India. So collaboratively, so in a particular location, all about some 100 to 150 kilometers of distance, or else somewhere like 300 kilometers of distance, if the data centers are near to the one data center is nearer to the another data center, and collaboratively the collection of these data centers, the cluster of these data centers are called as a region. So the geographical location where you can find out multiple data centers, the geographical location where you can find out multiple data centers, then that is called as a region. So in AWS, we are having 31 regions. Previously, up to the last year, we are having, at this point, we are having 29. Latest, we are having a new region. Hyderabad region has opened, and one more region, that is Australia. I think in Australia we have another region. So overall, 31 regions are currently effectively running. So so there are 31 regions all around the world. So if you see here, you are having a group of data centers in North Virginia region, a group of data centers in Ohio region, a group of data centers in Mumbai region, Hyderabad region, and Tokyo. And when you go to the Australia, you are having two regions in the Australian country. So like that, we are having multiple regions in multiple locations. So what is the primary thing? Primary thing, how you can call it as a region. The basic thing that how we have to call it as a region is, if you have multiple data centers collaboratively in a nearest distance, then that is called as a region. Now, like that, we are having 31 regions, and these regions are further divided into availability zones. They are called as AZs. Availability zones. All around the world, there are 99 AZs, 99 availability zones, which means the division of region is called as an availability zone. What is there inside the availability zone? Obviously, you will have the data centers only. So how we are dividing that? You are calling the collaborative data centers is called as a region, and again you are saying that availability zone is also inside the availability zone also you will have the data centers. What is the main difference between the region and the data availability zones? So availability zone is a facility where you will have data centers very, very near. So if you see a region, for example, I will say Mumbai region, just take an example, and you need to find out the data centers where there are available. There are so many data centers in Kolkata and again, all of the regions will come under a single region. Okay, so is my voice audible for you?
Yes,
Yes.
Then who doesn't have the problem with my voice? Check out your internet once, please. We don't want any video. You can turn off your video. Please check out your internet connection. So this is how your multiple data centers will be there inside a region. And if these data centers, among the data centers, suppose, for example, these two data centers are very near, within 100 kilometers distance, then this is called as an availability zone. If these two data centers are within 100 kilometers of distance, then this is called as an availability zone. So inside this region, we are having two availability zones, and or also two data centers into a single availability zone. Like that, we are having two availability zones. So in general, if I have to say you in the definition format, if you want me to say in the definition format, how can I say that is? So AWS geographic global infrastructure, I will go with some Java point tutorials. So here you can see the definition, clear-cut definition. AWS is a cloud computing platform which is globally available. Here they are giving only 19 regions as per 2019, but we are having now 31 regions. Anyways, coming back to this, availability zone. An availability zone is a facility that can be somewhere in a country or in a city. Inside this facility, that is data center, we can have multiple servers. So inside the availability zone, we will be having a data center. Actually, this is a wrong definition. Inside this facility, that is data center, what they are saying here, availability zone is a facility that can be somewhere in a country or a city. So here they want to say that availability zone is a data center, but availability zone is not a data center. Availability zone is a tightly packed multiple data centers, not a single data center. It can have multiple data centers. Of course, it can have a single data center also. Now, what is a region? A region, now this is what they are saying. Finally, in the second point, an availability zone can be a several data centers, but if they are close together, they are counted as a single availability zone. Okay. So what they are saying, an availability zone can be several data centers. It cannot be a single data center. It can be multiple data centers as well as a single data center also. If the two data centers are very near, so what they are saying, but if they are close together, if the data centers are close together, they are counted as a single availability zone, which is very near, below 100 kilometers range, then they are counted as a single availability zone. Now, what is meant by a region? A region is a geographical area. Each region consists of two more availability zones. So you can have one or in a single region. If I have to call a particular location as a region, then definitely I need to have minimum two availability zones, not a single availability zone. If I have a single availability zone, then it is not called as a region. So if I have to call a region as a region, then I need to have minimum of two availability zones, and more than you can have any number of availability zones. If you take North Virginia region, there you are having 6 availability zones. If you take California region, there you are having 4 availability zones. And when you come to India region, there in Mumbai location, you are having 3 availability zones. Like that, availability zone inside a region, you can have multiple availability zones. And inside the availability zones, you can have multiple data center. In general, if I have to describe in the pictorial manner, how can I describe that? So this is your region. Okay, either it might be a it is a multiple, a region is a combination of multiple data centers. Now this is a region. Inside the region, as I already said you that you will have multiple availability zones. This is one of the availability zone, and there will be another availability zone. And here you will have another availability zone. Now inside these availability zones, so what I can call them, so this is my region aged 1, and this is my aged 2, this is my aged 3. So these many number of availability zones that are available inside a region. And inside these availability zones, what we can have here is, we can have data centers. You can have a single data center, or you can have a multiple data center. For example, this is a data center which you are having inside the available zone 1. You can have another data center also. And inside availability zone 2, you will have a single data center. If at all, if you go for availability zone 3, you will have multiple data centers. So you can have multiple data center or also single data center. And each and every availability zone, which means each and every data center will be interconnected with each other. One data center will be interconnected with the another data center. So you don't need to worry about the data transmission, and as well as backing up the data can be easily done. Why? Because each and every data center will have an interconnection. Okay. So this is how your availability zones are interconnected. Now, what will be there inside these data centers? What we can expect inside the data centers? So what we can expect? So the data center architecture will be looking like this. I don't know how many of you are working in a company. If at all, if you are working in a company, you will understand. So if you are working as a system administrator, or also somewhere like Windows system admin, or also any administration profile, then you will hear this word DC. DC is nothing but a data center. So inside this data center, what we will be finding out? Any questions?
Sir, good evening, sir. One doubt I have. So actually, I'm the first Java developer. So
sorry, your voice is not audible.
So,
actually,
sir, am I audible now?
Yeah, tell me.
So I'm the full stack Java developer. So currently my project is on a PCF. So I'm moving to another project where the AWS is there. So is this course helpful for me? Because like
these are all the questions you can ask me at the end of the session. Okay. I will explain you in the clear-cut manner once you have. Other than this, if you have any doubts or right now, you can ask me. So if you are having these doubts, I am a developer, I am a Java developer, Python developer. In the first class only, I have given you the clarity. So if you still have these doubts, I can answer you at the end of the session. Okay, don't worry.
Okay. So just now I joined. So okay, fine.
Yeah, no problem. So this is your data center facility. What they are saying, inside the availability zone, we can have the data center. So how data center will be looking like? If you go to data center Azure. So how you are integrating Azure? So it might be Azure data center, but first data center, right? So if you can see here, this is how your data center will be looking like. See how much big it is. If you see the trucks, they are looking like toys. Okay, this is how this much big your data center will be. Inside this data center, what we will be having. So before you go inside this data center, you will be having, these are your coolers. Why? Because if you are having 10 computers, definitely you need to have an AC. Inside a data center facility, there will be thousands of servers will be there. If there are thousands of servers, how much cooling does the data center require? So for them, We will have the cooling and as well as heat extinguisher and as well as somewhere like generators will be there. So to give the continuous power supply, if there is sudden disconnection of power, so at least you need to have 3 days of backup. For that, you will have the generators and everything will be equipped. And for this data center, you need to have minimum 2 internet service providers for continuous networking concepts. Network providers will be there. And from 2 substations, you need to get the power, electricity. So why? Because if one substation is down, still you can get the electricity from the another substation. And to this data center, a water resource must be very near, like a river or a sea should be very near to this facility. Like that, you will have so many other terms which has to regulatory terms which has to follow to create a data center. So this is how your data center will be looking like. And inside the data center, what I am saying here, you will have the racks. Inside the data center, you will have the racks. This is how your rack will be looking like. So if you see here, this is how a rack will be there inside this data center. Inside this rack, we can configure. If you see here inside the rack, this is one type of server, and this is the another type of server. If you see, these are the rack servers which you are looking, and this is the blade server. So whatever he is inserting, this is a blade type of server. So this is the blade server. Like that, you will have multiple types of servers, and as well as networking devices like switches, routers will be there inside the racks. And here you can see this is the storage space, that is sandboxes will be there inside the rack. Like that, you will have so many devices will be configured inside the data center. Now, when these devices are configured, so what I am saying, inside this rack, for example, this is the data center and this is the rack if you are thinking. So inside the rack, we will have the servers and networking devices like our routers, switches and firewalls. Like that, we will be having so many networking devices. And these are all configured inside this rack. And like that, we will have some thousands of racks will be there. Like this, we will be having some thousands of racks. And each and every rack will be interconnected with each other. So every rack. So one rack, so you don't need to worry about the communication perspective. Each and every rack will be interconnected. So you will have the communication between the servers also. So this is how a data center will be looking like. So inside this data center, and the racks, we will be having the servers. Inside the servers, we will be having a virtualized missions. Virtual missions will be configured and they will be installed inside this physical servers. So what I am saying, there are multiple types of servers. Multiple types of servers will be there. Among those, tower servers, and then rack servers, and then blade servers. Like that, we will be having different types of servers. How tower server will be looking like? Tower server is just as like your desktop computer. So if you see here, this is how your tower server will be looking like. And a rack server will be looking like this. This is a HP rack server, which can be mounted to the rack. And this is how a blade server will be looking like. There will be a chassis. So this is called as chassis or chassis. And inside that, we can install the blades. So each blade will be helpful to run some small applications. So combinedly, it is called as a blade server. Like that, we will be having different types of servers that are installed inside the racks, and each server will be configured with a virtualized mission. So inside the virtual mission, we will be running the applications. So like that, the infrastructure will be looking like. Now, if you see here, so what I can do here is, this is my data center and these are all the racks. And inside the racks, we will have the physical servers. Okay, and each physical server will have the virtualized mission. So virtual missions will be there, and whatever the instances, EC2 instances that you are using, those are not the physical servers. Those are the virtual missions which you are using. Okay, just remember this point. So whatever the instances that you are using, those are not the physical missions. Those are the virtualized instances. And one more thing here is, so here, this is how your architecture will be looking like. Now, the question here is, there are 2 types of clouds, or else in general, there are 3 types of clouds, but try to understand, negotiate it for the 2 types as per the time being. Okay, when we go into the cloud computing, introduction to cloud and all the things, then there I will tell you about that. But before diving into that, so just for my satisfaction, I will say that there are two types of clouds. One is public cloud and the other one is private cloud. Of course, there is a third type of cloud is also there, that is the hybrid cloud. But as of now, understand there are two types of clouds. For example, public cloud. What is meant by public cloud? So the name itself indicating that. Can anybody say what is meant by public cloud? Public. So the name itself indicating that everyone can access. Everyone can access. The only thing is that you need to have a debit card, and it must be a Visa, Master, or American Express card. And inside in your bank, you need to have minimum of ₹2 of balance. That's it. So if you have those things, then automatically you can create an AWS account and you can run your instances. So each and every person, every organization can have their servers inside my AWS account. So now why? So that is the reason why it is called as public cloud. So everyone can access, only they need to have the internet connectivity. So if they have the internet connectivity, they can easily access. They can be in the forest region also. If they have the internet in the forest, they can access their servers. They can install the application. They can do the work by sitting inside in the forest also. So that is called as your public cloud. Everyone can access, anyone can access from anywhere. So when you're coming back to the private cloud, this will be accessible to a particular company, particular organization. Only particular employees who are working inside a particular company. Okay, that is called as a private cloud. Then there is another cloud, that is hybrid cloud, which is an integration between both public cloud and private cloud. We will come to know about that. But first of all, you need to understand why we need to go for the networking concept. Because see, try to understand this, what I am saying. AWS cloud can be inside. So inside a region, you will have multiple availability zones. Inside the multiple availability zones, you will have multiple data centers. Inside the data centers, you will have the servers. Now, for example, there are some rivalry companies. For example, take an example like Ola is one of the company and Uber is the another company. Both are the what I can say travel related applications are there. So both companies belongs to the travel related ones. Okay. Now Ola is trying to create their servers. Ola is trying to create the servers in the suppose Mumbai region. Uber is also trying to create the servers in the same region. So both Ola and Uber both are creating in the same region. So when these two companies are trying to create their servers in the same region, what is going to happen? Ola as well as Uber both are trying to create their servers in the AP Southward, which is nothing but my Mumbai location or else Mumbai region. This is also creating its servers in the AP Southward. What is happening? What will happen if both the company servers are created in the same public cloud? What is going to happen? Can anybody say?
Maybe memory issues or traffic issues happen.
Traffic issue. Okay. So actually what happens if both are created in a single public cloud? The thing what is going to happen here is they will opt the servers in the data centers. When they opt the servers from the data centers, each and every data center will be communicating with each other. Then there is a chance of server communications. So there might be the data inside one server will be staked. Why? Because both the servers are communicating with each other. So if an employee of a company is trying to access the servers of another company, so then easily they can get the data of the another company. So there will be privacy issue. So what I have to do now in the public cloud, if at all if there is a privacy issue, so what is the resolution for this? So to overcome this problem, to overcome this limitation, what AWS is providing here is there is a concept called as VPC. So what AWS is saying, so they are saying that we might be the public clouds where everyone can access their servers in our clouds. But what you can do here is you can create a boundary for your resources. If at all, if you are having multiple resources, if you are installing multiple resources, then you can create a boundary, nothing but a logical network. For example, if at all, if there are so many houses in a street, So how you can say that this particular plot belongs to me? So you will create a wall. So and say that this particular property belongs to so and so. So in the same manner, what AWS or else any cloud service provider will say, if you are creating any resources, then you have to create a logical network, not the physical network. Then you have to create a logical boundary. That logical boundary is called as a VPC. Logical means which we cannot see. So that is the network. So you need to configure a network. So when you configure the network, so one VPC will not communicate with the another VPC. What is meant by VPC? The full form of VPC is virtual private cloud. Just now what I have said, private cloud. Private cloud means the cloud which is helpful for a single organization. The resources inside the private cloud can be accessible by the employees of a single organization or else customer of a single organization. So which means that inside the public cloud, you can create your own organization's cloud. Then that is called as a VPC, virtual private cloud. So how we are going to create that? We are going to create a boundary that is called as VPC. Inside that boundary, we can create our resources, whatever the servers, databases, storage devices, or also shared network, shared resources, everything, Active Directory, everything we can configure inside that VPC only. So VPC is the primary block for your entire organization. Or else, for example, inside an organization, again, you are having two more teams. One is development team and the other one is production team. You can have the admin teams like that. So one service, if one team server should not communicate with another team servers, then what you can do? You can create a boundary. So by creating this VPCs, what you can do here is one organization devices will not communicate with the another organization devices. That will be happening with the VPC. So how we are going to create this boundary? This boundary is nothing but our network. So why you have to learn the network? Because why you have to learn networking? Because you need to understand how can I create that particular VPC? How many devices? So why when we are creating the VPC, we will be providing some CIDR ranges. In AWS, when we are creating the VPC, while creating that, I am going to create some CIDRs. What is the CIDR? You will come to know if you learn networking. So that CIDR represent how many devices can be created inside this VPC. Whether we can create 60,000 devices or 32,000 devices or 256 devices, that completely depends upon the CIDR that you are providing. This CIDR represents the boundary of your organization. Generally, AWS will say that the CIDR values will start from /16. You will not understand right now. Oh, what is this /16? You will only, when you will understand this, whenever you are having a brief understanding about networking, IP addresses, CIDRs, subnets, then only you will understand this /16. Until then, you will not understand this /16 value. Anyways, when we provide a network with the / value as 16, then that represent inside the VPC, you can create 65,000 devices, 65,536 devices. How you are providing this? We will come to know about that in the further classes. From tomorrow onwards, we will be starting the networking. So, but why network? For that reason, I have to say all this concept. What is the region? What is availability on global infrastructure? And how you are going to create your boundary, that is nothing but a network. And for that network, what you are doing here, you are providing the CIDRs. Okay, you can provide /16. So AWS is saying that you can create from /16 to /28. Okay, a VPC can be configured from /16 to /28. So why we have to provide these / values? What is the necessity of that? Everything we will be learning in the next class. But as of now, this is the reason why you need to have the network configuration. What is why you have to study network? So to understand this network configuration, you need to have this binary to, again, I am saying this binary to decimal conversion. So you need to have a brief understanding about what is a binary number system, what is a decimal number system. So how binary numbers can be converted as decimal numbers and how decimal numbers can be converted as binary numbers. Why? Because binary numbers are understandable by the computers and servers. Humans can understand the decimal numbers. So to communicate with them, to provide the IP addresses to them, then you need to have a brief understanding about so binary to decimal conversions. So this is why you need to learn the networking. So to understand how to create the VPCs, how to divide the VPC into another small subnets, and how we can provide the IP addresses, how we can communicate with the servers, how we can take the access of the servers. For all these questions, you will get the answers if you learn the networking concept. So that's about why you have to learn networking. And in this, we have studied about global infrastructure, and inside an AWS global infra, we will be having 31 regions, and inside the 31 regions, we will be having 99 availability zones. And then we have seen about data center architecture. Inside the data center, inside a data center, we will have the racks, and inside the racks, we will have multiple servers. Those are tower servers, rack servers, and blade servers. Apart from this, we will have so many networking devices like routers, switches, firewalls, like that. We will be having so many networking and security devices. And then we studied about what is meant by public cloud and what is meant by private cloud. And then we have seen about VPC. So why we need to go for the VPC configuration. That is what we have completed up to now. And here I forgot to say about one more infrastructure relatable thing. That is edge locations. Edge locations. So what is meant by this edge location? So how many members of you are watching Netflix web series? This is not a technical question. This is a general question I am asking. Okay, you can answer it. Everybody will watch Netflix web series, right? Or at least you will have the Prime Video, or else you will have Disney Hotstar, like that. You will have so many different types of OTT platforms, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
So everybody will be watching a Netflix web series. Whenever you are watching the Netflix web series, from where the content will be available for you? So what will happen in the backend? So the Netflix server will be in American location. In America location, you will have the Netflix server. So Netflix will use the microservices like Kubernetes services, of course, but still it should be configured on a server. So this is my Netflix server. Not only you will not have a single server, you will have multiple servers. Okay, this is my Netflix server. Okay. Now inside this Netflix server, you will have multiple shows and series. For example, today at night at 12 o'clock, a new web series is about to launch. So everybody are eagerly waiting for that web series. From all around the world, everyone are eagerly waiting for that web series. So whenever everyone are eagerly waiting for this web series, so there are so many audience from somewhere like UK, India, and there are audience from Australia. So from the every part of world, there are so many audience for this particular web series. Okay. Now what happens exactly at night 12 o'clock, they will start the streaming. When the Netflix starts streaming, everyone will be connected to the Netflix server. So whenever everyone are connecting and the application is getting accessed by each and every people all around the world. So what happens here? Of course, for the traffic and all the things, the Netflix will have its own load balancers and all the things. So you don't need to worry about the load balancing thing. But when each and every user who are eagerly waiting for the episode and they are watching the episode, so what happens here is the data traffic will be very high. To overcome that data traffic, Netflix will have its own load balancers. But whenever you are accessing the video, have you ever experienced it? Whenever you are watching the web series for the first time, all of a sudden exactly at 12 o'clock, whenever you are accessing the video for the first time, you will be watching a little buffering in the video. Whenever you are streaming the video, there will be a little buffer. Can you tell me why there will be a little buffer? The little buffer is not because of your loads. Why you will have the buffer? The reason behind the buffer is whenever you are accessing the video, your request has to reach to the Netflix server. From the Netflix server, the video has to come into your devices. So for that reason, there will be a latency between the video accessibility. Definitely, you might be having high-speed internet. Still, whenever you are watching the video for the first time, you are the first person in the entire region who is watching that video. Definitely, you will have the buffer. If you want to try, you can try it if you find out any new web series also. When there is a buffer, then automatically the streaming will be very less. The streaming speed will be very less. Now, after 1 day or 2 days, you won't find any latency. You won't find any lag in the video. Automatically, when you play the video with the speed of your internet, it will be streaming for you continuously. You don't find any lags. You don't find any buffers. Why? What is happening here? So here, what is going to happen? You will have the edge locations in each and every region. You will have multiple edge locations. So these edge locations, whenever the user is first trying to access the data from the Netflix server, whatever the videos, songs, applications, images, not the applications, images, whatever the data, user data is there, the user data will be collected and stored inside this edge locations, inside the cache servers. So inside this, from this edge locations, the data will be provided to the user. So that is the reason for the first time the user will be finding out some latency. But from the second time onwards, the user will not find any latency. The reason behind it is when he requested for the application, it will go to the application, but so there won't be any problem with the data. Why? Because the data is already available inside his nearest edge location, inside his nearest pointer of interaction. So from here he will get the data, so that so the response or else the request should not go to the servers. From the origin, the data will not be downloaded into your computer or else into your mobile phone. So from the edge locations, from the nearest servers, you will get the data. So that is the reason for the second day or else from the first day, after some time, you won't find the lag. Why? Because all the people near the region will be accessing that video. So the video will be available inside this location. So from this location only, each and every person will get the access. So this is called as edge locations or cache centers. Okay, or caches, edge caches. We will call them as edge caches. So like that, you will have your data inside the edge location. This is also one of the, what I can say, global infrastructure. This is also an infrastructure of your AWS. So inside the global infrastructure, you will have the regions, availability zones, and edge locations. So this is the main responsibility of your edge location. Got the point here? Any questions? Now you can ask me the questions. You got the point here? Any further questions?
Sir, let's say there is any update from the Netflix server like that. So does that be updated to the edge servers in the middle?
Application will not be updated in the edge locations. Application will be in the origin only. Data will be updated. New data will be updated in the edge location.
Okay.
Only data, either it might be a video, audio, image files, any type of files will be there inside the edge location. Application will be in the main origin only. For application access, you have to go for the origin. But for data access, you can get the data from the edge location. Okay.
Okay.
Any further questions?
In edge location, there are also physical servers or data center. Like
of
that.
course, edge location is also a type of data center only. But the main conventional database, but the main conventional data center is a little bit different from the edge locations. In edge locations, you can store the data. But when you're coming back to the data centers, you can have all your server access. You can create the databases. You will have all your server configurations. But when you come to the edge locations, you can store the data. Got the point here?
Yes.
Any further questions? Okay, so that's about the entire global infrastructure of your AWS. AWS global infrastructure, right? Is right from region to edge locations. Okay, I hope you understand this. Now you can post your questions apart, like whatever you have. Sir, I am a software developer. How this course will be helpful for you, for me? So this course will be helpful for you. You might be a software developer. By learning this course, you can understand the total infrastructure. Okay. So whenever any project person is asking you to learn AWS, the only reason behind this is when you develop an application. So the infrastructure, how infrastructure will be configured. That is the reason they will be asking you to learn the AWS. And at the same point, whenever you are configuring the application, you have to store the logs. So when you learn the AWS, all the logs will be stored in the S3 buckets. So that is the reason also they will ask you to learn AWS. Not only that, Lambda functions, SNS, and what can I say, APIs or API gateways. Like that, there are so many things that are helpful for the developers perspective also. Okay, so that is the reason why they will ask you to learn AWS.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, like means just now you're saying with respect to for AWS, we need to work on, services and as well as log files. So in the real time, most of the time we need to work on the log files, sir. Like how the real time will take place, like what exactly we'll see in the real time.
That depends upon the application perspective. So if the application is continuously restarting, or else there are bugs in the application, sometimes the application is not available for the use, then you have to go for the log files. But here, when you learn the AWS perspective, what I'm saying, you can store the log files in the S3 buckets. Why you are storing that? If you want to retrieve them, you can retrieve and access them. We are having the CloudWatch also. In CloudWatch, what we will do, how many people are accessing the application. If there are any bad requests, or else if there are any files that are not there in the application, if users are requesting that, so who are requesting that type of request, everything you will see in the CloudWatch monitoring also. So like that, you will have so many other things. So I'm just said you, just for an example, you can store the log files. So in real time, why AWS is helpful for the developers to store the log files, to configure the RDS configuration. Here, whatever you are learning here, it is completely in the perspective of administration. Okay. So why developer has to learn AWS? The responsibility of developer is not only to build the application. The responsibility of the developer has become now it has become that they need to understand what will be there in the infrastructure also, how my application is configuring in the servers, everything they have to understand. For that reason, you have to have a basic understanding about AWS.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much for your help, sir. For example, if I have completed this course, and then I can say that both I am only AWS administrator, or I am a AWS developer as well.
See, you are a developer with having AWS skill set. If at all, if you are from the development background, you are a developer with the AWS.
I'm asking about, I'm not a development background. After completion of this course, I can say that AWS.
You can say that AWS associate, or also AWS engineer with associate. So there are so many levels. So
it comes under both. It comes under both administrator as well as developer, right?
First listen, then first in the cloud configurations, or else cloud level of jobs, you will have cloud engineers, cloud associates, cloud architects.
Okay.
Now you don't have any developer background. So whenever you don't have the developer background, now you will be starting from the cloud engineer, and then we will be going for the cloud associate, and then you can go for the cloud architect. Whenever you are gaining the knowledge. So without knowledge, it is not possible. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, sir. I'm clear.
It is not into the developer perspective. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Questions, guys?
And sir, there is no, Java is required for this learn this course.
No coding language is involved, especially I am not from the coding background, first of all. Okay. I'm completely into the administration. Whatever the experience, 80 years of experience is there. I work for the servers, Linux, Windows servers. Okay. I don't have the knowledge on coding. So I can say that. Why? Because I am very good in administration. So whoever are learning the AWS, DevOps, everything, so you don't need to have the high-level coding language. Okay, but you need to have the scripting language, JSON, YAML scripting, and if you want to learn the DevOps further. Okay, for this particular course, you don't require any sort of coding language.
Okay.
Yeah. Questions, guys? That's it.
Sir, just now I asked you, right, like before the class, So you cleared me that the developer also needs to we will be clear if we go to this code.
So, just hold on a
And,
second. You said that you are a Java full stack developer, right?
correct.
Java full stack developer means what are the roles and responsibilities? What is a full stack developer roles and responsibility?
Yeah, like we will be getting some user stories. So we'll be developing the UI and the backend, and we'll be integrating and pushing the code to different environments for this.
That will comes under only development phase, what you are saying. A full stack developer must have the complete knowledge. So research and development. So when a client comes to you and asks you for developing of any software, you need to do the research and development. Then you have to build the application testing phase, and then you have to go for the server deployments. Everything will comes under the full stack.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So whenever you are saying that you are a full stack developer, then definitely you need to have a brief idea about infrastructure also. So this course will be helpful for you on that purpose.
Okay, sir. And any integration part is required, like let's say while developing, if we call any AWS. So for integration part, any other skill is required for me, or is this not required?
That's
okay.
Whatever the skill set you have, that's more than enough.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Anybody?
Sir, yeah. Linux also will cover here, sir. I mean Linux comments.
Basics and so not very in-depth of Linux, right? Because to cover the entire Linux, it will take.
No, just I'm asking, like that basics will cover here, sir.
Yeah, only basics, just basic, 1 day of basic concept.
That will be enough to continue.
Yes, that's good.
Thank you.
Questions, guys? Any another questions apart from this? And videos, every day you will have the video access. Don't worry about the videos. And timings, every day from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. will be the class. And what I can say, 45 working days, 45 working sessions will be the class timings. And for that, what I can say here, that's more than what I can say. So remaining everything, it's completely depends upon your working, depends upon your practical knowledge.
Will you provide class notes?
Straight away, it's a no. You are not, it's of course you might be, you are working somewhere else, but still, if I have to dictate the class notes and again I have to tell you the practical. So whenever I am discussing about the practical, I will say you the definitions and everything. So you can maintain a running notes. You will be getting a video. So look at the video, write down your own notes, briefing about the entire topic. So you will have the documentation in the Amazon websites. You can check out the documentation before completion of the practical. Don't look into the documentation. You will not understand anything. After completing the practical, then only go for the documentation. So class notes and all the things, those are the kids things. You are professionals now. Okay. So that is what I can say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You can, so one thing I can confidently say that is whenever you go through the videos, whenever you go through the practical, you can yourself can write your own notes. You can yourself can do the practicals very effectively. So if you compare with the another students who are learning AWS, I think you will be into the professional level. I am very sure about that. Okay. So you will know when we complete the course. At the end of the course, you will clear out all your doubts. Okay, this is how AWS will be looking. Okay, got the point here?
Okay, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So that's it, guys. Tomorrow we'll meet and discuss about the networking, where we will be learning. So tomorrow our concept will be, we will be working on IP addresses, what is meant by an IP, and how we have to differentiate the network and host portions of the IP, subnet. So something raw will be there, raw and rustic subject. So in movies, they will say you that this is a raw and rustic movie. In the same manner, whatever the concept that you are going to learn tomorrow, that will be raw and rustic. And so those who are from the software background and those who are very, very interested towards learning theoretical part, they will find out something annoying also. something boring also. If you have to learn networking, it's not a boring subject. If you connect to the networking, it's very enjoyable for you. But if you are not able to connect it, then that will be very, very boring. But still, it is my responsibility to cover this topic. Why? Because if you don't understand this, you cannot go further into the VPC form. So in AWS, one thing will be interlinked with the another things, guys. So don't think that if I don't attend the class for today, so tomorrow I can cover the class. There will be a new topic. Of course, you might be having a new topic, but that topic will be interlinked with the old topic. So one topic will be interlinked with the another topic. So it's like a change. One service will be interlinked with the another service. So it's like a chain. So if you miss a small topic also, again, you have to go back and look into the previous videos. So please don't miss out the classes. So that is what I can say. And one more thing is my request from my end is please respond to the calls that are coming from the DURGASOFT. At least they will not call continuously, just to get the feedback and whether are you interested to join in the course. For that, they will call you. You can provide your valuable feedback, or also whether are you interested to join or not, then that will be helpful for them also. So I'm getting some responses that no, not answering, and call not lifting, and need one more demo like that. So anyways, no problem. I can provide you 3 demos. There is no problem with the demos, but at least please lift the calls. That's my request from my end. That's all for today. We'll meet in the tomorrow's demo. Tomorrow will be the last demo for you. And from day after tomorrow, whatever the sessions that we are about to conduct, so those will be for the students who has enrolled for the course. Okay. I hope you understand everything. So that's all for today. Have a nice day. Bye, guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Chaitanya. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I got so many things here. So I forgot to check out the chat box. Okay. So that's it. Have a nice day. Bye, guys.